Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And happy Hump Day. Yes, it's another Hump Day happy chat time. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Renee Shepherd, coming to you from a new location for the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery, where we help you master yourself and your life so that you can exquisitely manage whatever your life brings your way. And yes, I'm in a new scape here. It's cream is the color of the morning. How beautiful is it? And how wonderful it is to be here with you for another Wednesday morning conversation about how to create a life that you truly love living. It's been a time of transition for me. It feels like the transition's been going on for months. And sometimes I bet it feels like that for you. And the most important thing is to go easy on yourself. I'm learning at a deeper level how kind of pushy I can be and how much I can want things done. I do know this about myself. I am much more interested in the result, having it done, completed, over, by, than I am in the journey. And I'm so grateful that you are here. And what I would ask is that you maybe type in the chat a good morning. And the question of the moment is, how's your 2023 going now that we are into month 2? Like, how's it going for you? And today, it's a really important question because I don't know about you, but it seems like time moves faster, which is an untruth. That's really not the way it works. In fact, time is in us, not out there somewhere. And we carry it with us where we go. So we're not fighting against it. We're just being in harmony with time. But it can feel very different than that. Good morning. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome to the Hump Day Habit Chat. So, at this point in a quote unquote new year, it can be a good time to ask about what kinds of things might serve and support you to have even more of what you want. And is the plan that you entered this period with, is the plan working? And I've also learned, as I said, I'm in a transition period, and I'm also learning that I'm not also always as quick as I'd like to be to shift gears. Like, I can be a dog with a favorite toy, just not wanting to put it down when it comes to the game plan I created. And I fall in love with my plans. And I shouldn't be doing that. There's nothing wrong here. The idea, though, is, am I giving myself enough freedom? Are you giving yourselves enough freedom to be able to shift gears with what's showing up? Can you be in the moment, holding to the plan as you allow yourself to see, is what's showing up really driving you to notice some things, to be different as you, so that therefore you can do things differently in the situations that arise because of your plan, because of your desires. Like, underneath every plan is a desire. And so how do we help ourselves experience our pathways to our desires? How do we help ourselves experience ourselves, giving ourselves that which we believe that we want, that which, for me right now, the path I'm on has bubbled up from the inside, from the center of my chest, from the deep, integrated, spiritual human self that I am, from my higher self breathing into me. It is not intellectual. There's no logic. The logic has come in after I've said yes, since I've said yes to the divine plan and said, okay, I'm in, I'm up for it. I'm I'm following. You're leading, I'm following. So my ultimate CEO of my life and business has put in my heart this beautiful endeavor, and I'm on it. I'm on it. And so the idea that, or the ideas that um, birthed the desire in me at a higher amplitude, because it's been there for a long time. I just been pretending I didn't hear it. Um, have you ever done that? Yeah. A lot of times when I'm talking to clients and students, they will tell me, geez, that's been there forever. And I just didn't pay attention, or I told myself stories about the difficulties that it would create, and instead of seeing the possibilities. And so I didn't pursue when the possibilities and the opportunities arose. And again, there's nothing wrong here. Our lives are happening for us, not to us. You're not a victim. You have opportunity in every circumstance to pick a road that serves you the best, no matter what the circumstance is. That's called, as far as I'm concerned, being a difference maker. Being a difference maker. And that's what today's topic is about. Are you a difference maker? How are you doing? You're making a difference for you and for those you love and those you lead and those you serve. This quote from Greta Thunberg: you are never too small to make a difference. You are never too small to make a difference. Small thinking will make that possibility evaporate. But you, in and of yourself, are never too small. So Greta is a Swedish environmental activist. She's only, I think, her birthday's in January. And so that means I think this year she turned 20 years old. So she's been doing this um, at a very young point in her life, making a difference, standing up for some things that she believes are important. And whether we agree and jump on her bandwagon or we create our own bandwagon, it's not about following someone else's difference making in order to be a difference. It's not agreeing with all the difference makers doing the various things that they're doing in the world to benefit themselves and the greater good. It's not about that. It's about what aspects of you might you leverage to be a difference maker in your life. And when I think about difference making, I think of it in two ways. The most important, and I'm always going to lead with the self-mastery angle, it's always going to be about how are you making a difference in the life that you are leading for you, as you, from you, to you, about you. That's the first place. And I have to say this. I meet way too many people who believe their joy, their happiness, their comfort, their peace, all the good things in their lives are going to come from bringing good things to other people's lives. And there are ways that that can be true. But one of the ways, the foundational ways that a lot of those people miss is that they need to be engaged in that service to others from a full cup in themselves. And most of the people that I hear telling me that, well, I feel happy when I'm helping other people. When I listen to them deeply, they're giving from a very empty, and not just empty cup, it's dry. It's dried up. It's desert-like in their cups. And they don't know it. And so what you start to hear is a little sorrow, a little tinge of resentment, and that's not serving anyone. Why? Because it means every time they're making a difference, every time they're giving, they're actually putting low vibration energy into the planet. And I don't know about you and what you see in the planet right now, but there is plenty of low vibration energy in the planet. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Plenty of low vibration energy in the planet. We don't need any more. So the way that you get to not do that, the way that you get to do it differently is to serve yourself into a full place. And from that full place, give all you want. Give and give and give and give and give. And when you're giving from the empty place, you're not serving yourself and you're not serving the world. So stop it. Stop doing it. So when I think about this whole idea of giving, like how do I make a difference? So let's start with the you in your life. How do you make a difference in your life? And this is a perfect time for this question because at every time that a year changes, everybody goes about what they're going to do differently for next year. I'm going to do this and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this and I'm not going to do that. I'm definitely not doing that. I'm going to do this and I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to do more and more and more and more of this. And then 5 or 6 weeks into the doing it, something changes. Something wanes. Something slows down. Something evaporates. And the making the difference all of a sudden isn't quite that fueled, isn't quite that front and center, isn't quite so fabulous. And I and millions of others abandon the plan. Again, not good, not bad, not right, not wrong. The question is, I wonder why that is. Curiosity. Dance in the inquiry, not in the retribution, not in the victim. Dance in the inquiry. I wonder why that is. So what we're talking about is the honeymoon effect. The honeymoon effect. I didn't coin that term, but it's a great one. It's very common. The honeymoon effect, where we get into this experience of a temporary change and we're kind of running on this high, like a runner's high. We're kind of like so thrilled with ourselves and the way things are going and our newfound eating plan and our newfound sleeping plan and the new way that we do our filing system, and wow, it's so cool. And then something happens and our connection to the goal and to the way the new thing was going to help us kind of it becomes overwhelming. This word overwhelm. There are a lot of people struggling through, coping through overwhelm right now, trying to balance way too many things on a set of scales that isn't big enough. And so this honeymoon effect is very prevalent. It's very prevalent. And what people really want, which is the transformation, what they really want is the change. They want the change effect. That's not quite as prevalent. In fact, it's rare. People who study change, and anyone who intends to be a change maker needs to understand the science of change, needs to understand how do they affect that for themselves. There's a piece of hair that just keeps tickling me. So this whole idea of lasting change happening. So are you a difference maker? Is this question of, are you the catalyst and the completor of lasting change in your life, first and foremost, and lasting change in the lives of others, secondarily? And again, why am I focused on you first? Because it is very difficult to be a difference maker when you're out of internal fuel. You have to keep yourself fueled up. And so being a difference maker in your own life gives you the pathways to creating that fountain of fuel within you so that you are giving from overflow always and not from a half full tank, or worst of all, from an empty tank. So when you're going to experience transformation as yourself, overcoming this idea of the honeymoon effect and getting into the way lasting change happens, there's a guy named Rick Snyder who looked at kind of the biology and the science of hope theory. And he published 6 books on it and hundreds of articles about impact of hope in his life and impact of forgiveness, which one could say that in the concept of forgiveness, in the beingness of forgiving, there is a baseline of hope around what's possible when I release this anger, when I release this self-shame, when I release this hatred, when I release whatever low vibration thing it is that has me not in forgiveness. When I release and forgive that, the hope underneath it for what is better, what is different, what is more kind, more just, more loving, I mean, that can be an incredible catalyst for an act of forgiveness and ongoing acts of forgiveness for sure. So Rick Snyder wrote this book, The Psychology of Hope, one of his books, The Psychology of Hope. And he teaches that there are 2 aspects about people being able to fuel the changes and kind of craft the future that they want. And you've probably heard it. You probably have heard it. You probably have heard it like this: where there's a will, there's a way. Now, Rick Snyder says, he talks about both things, willpower and way power. Willpower about desire, like how deep is your desire to succeed, to get to what might be the end point at this particular point in time. And the end points probably will change over time. But at one particular point in time, how much will, how much desire do you have to put into place that which you desire? And then way power is how you, in your agency, in your personal empowerment, in your own work, as I say, own work, not homework, own work. You own your progression toward the results that you are committed to delivering for yourself. So way power is how much of your own work are you willing to commit to creating the end result? Where there's a will, there's a way. That's not exactly the same thing. It's where there's a will, there is the ability to create and sustain the way. So how am I a difference maker? I have the will, and I'm willing to do the own work to create. And the most important part, right? So the honeymoon effect has a lot of people creating a way. The lasting change, transformation happens when people are willing to sustain. And that means sustain through the mid-course corrections that are necessary. So we start a particular diet and we don't like it. We don't have to abandon it. I don't have to abandon it. I can choose again. I say I'm going to give up smoking. And when I notice 2 months in, I seem to be having just 1 cigarette a lot, I can come up with a new own work plan that creates the way power that serves my willpower. Understanding habits, making habitual patterns of change are not necessarily easy. Even when you have a fountain of desire to feed from, it's not necessarily easy. So understanding that it takes 21 days, so studies say, to create a new habitual pattern, a conditioned habitual pattern. So you might want to give yourself 60 days instead of 2 weeks. You may also decide that, okay, I'm going to give myself a little more time. You may also love yourself by not taking on more than 1 or 2 changes at a time. It may be overwhelming to your system to try and manage several different changes going on at once. And so I encourage you to be easy on yourself. Like, how about creating the easy path? I'm just going to do 1 right now. And that's plenty. That's plenty. Bravo for that. So change in you is willpower, desire, 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 and way power. How am I going to create the path? And if I have to, morph the path and take a sidebar on the path and rest along the path and reinvigorate myself with my will on the path. Like, what is the way I'm making a difference for myself? And then when we talk about in the world, and remember that you're doing it for yourself so that your fountain is always full. Because giving to the world requires that you are fortified to handle whatever the world brings your way as a part of fulfilling your desire, your purpose, your destiny on a grander scale for the benefit of people beside yourself. Got the hiccups. So here's the thing. In both cases, for the self and for the world, it's about accumulation effect, right? The accumulation effect is what can make a tiny act, create a ripple effect that is a force with which to be reckoned. Accumulation effect. So you don't have to save the world. You don't have to mount a peacekeeping mission where you're in the heart of danger as the way that you serve the world. You don't have to be the next Greta Thunberg. What if your contribution to the world is that you are more kind to yourself? Well, there's an idea. What if my own kindness to myself has such an impact in the world? Why? Because the world is energetic. And so when I notice that I'm not very kind to myself, and I replace the not very kind behaviors with something at a higher vibration, wow, that means everywhere I go, I'm emanating a higher vibration. That means everywhere I place myself, those who are there with me, whether it's the plant or the ant or the table lamp, is experiencing a different vibration. And that vibration makes all the difference in the world. So what if you just embraced as a difference maker when I do spiral up in my consciousness, when I do enhance my vibration, I am contributing love, kindness, joy, empowerment, peace, harmony, connectivity, healing, laughter to the world. And so one could actually cultivate their ability to laugh at themselves, at the world, in a loving way and say, that's my contribution in service to the world. I love laughing, and I make sure I laugh a lot. And I encourage and invite others to join me a lot. That could be your gift to the world. The important thing with this service in the world, it doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't even necessarily matter that you have to do it. Because like I said, when you are serving yourself in love, the newly created you, the more loving, more kind, more generous, any of those things, is already in service to the world. So you don't have to go find a project. For those of us who do want to find a project and contribute specifically to it, as a part of healing the greater good, as a part of up-leveling the greater good, as a part of transforming the greater good, here are a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, be present and visible in whatever way that serves. So being present and visible as a person who is there to contribute, not to take, but to give, to contribute. It might mean taking on a lesser known project in an underserved area. It might mean that. Being present, so getting yourself there, letting people see you, what you're doing, maybe talking about it, shouting out about it, encouraging others to take a look at it, contributing from a brighter perspective, shining light on the problem and the various solutions, and creating the invitation that welcomes others to come and play in your sandbox. Number two is all about emotional intelligence. You have to get adept, skilled at leveraging emotional intelligence whenever you're working for the greater good. Why? Because you're going to be interacting with others. And whenever you are interacting with an other, there are all kinds of opportunities for all kinds of things to happen. And not all of them is in the highest vibration. Your ability to understand when things are sliding into the abyss and do a course correction in yourself can really help. Not the easiest thing to do. I will attest to that. My emotional intelligence is a lot of head knowledge, and it's a lot of heart wisdom, and I still have much growth and potential in that area. So listen deeply. Put others' needs first and put them into the equation, or actually in the center of the equation. Understand that what you think is going on is not necessarily all that's going on. And your ability with emotional intelligence to be able to look under the surface and notice what could be going on is really going to serve you. But that's up to you. That's up to you to cultivate in yourself your emotional intelligence. I love emo. We spend a lot in the Western world on intellect, IQ. And what I'm encouraging you to do is get yourself an understanding of where you are on an EQ basis. You might find that that's your greatest area of growth. And then serve selflessly. I love it when I'm dealing with volunteers for my nonprofit. And sometimes they show up in I'm going to make a difference stance. I'm a difference maker. And they have all the answers. And they have a lot of drive. And they have a lot of direction. And they don't listen very well. They want to do it their way, even though the board says we want to go in this direction. They want to impose their ideas. And they see a vision, and I love that. I love visionaries. And when you're coming into an established organization, it's also good to understand what's already there to see how best to insert your brilliance Doesn't mean you can't, and it doesn't mean leave it on the doorstep and just come do it our way. There would be no change if that happened. So don't hear that from what I'm saying. But there is a maturing process with how to impact an established organization. And not everybody who wants to be a difference maker is doing their own work on how to do that best in the different cultures. And I don't mean social culture, I mean organizational culture that they're entering. So accept that it's not necessarily about you. It's not about showcasing your brilliance and your ideas. It's about serving, and how can you do that the best? And then lastly, be an affirmative force for change. There are some forces in the world right now that are looking like all they want to do is tear things down. And it doesn't even look like they have an idea, a viable idea, besides the blah, 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 a viable idea of what to do instead. That doesn't mean we have to keep doing things that aren't serving and aren't working. And it does mean that your responsibility in service is to bring the service, not the lip service, the actual action-based oriented service. And so being affirmative, how to bring positive impetus for change, how to look at what's working and expand on that, how to alter and transform or abandon what isn't working, how to shine your light as a part of a collective that's built on transformational shift. Be the force within the system that others want to follow, that others want to support, that others want to serve alongside. Leadership, Ken Blanchard, one of his famous ideas on leadership is that it happens from the middle. It happens from being within the community and serving alongside, shoulder to shoulder, with your fellow leaders. Not necessarily about placing yourself out front as the one that everyone else should listen to. So there you have it. If you see yourself as a difference maker, I invite and encourage you to watch this video again, to share it with the other difference makers with whom you play. Add some of your own secret sauce, and remember, where there's a will, one can create and sustain a way. And that way needs to start with yourself and giving and serving and supporting the you that you're being in the world. Yes, I am a difference maker. What a nice affirmation that is. And I'm up to making some major differences in my life right now that are going to translate to the difference making that I'm also doing for the greater good. That's it for today's Hump Day Happy Chat. I always close with the Karanaya Metta Sutra, the prayer of loving kindness from the Buddha. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be safe. And there's a lot going on out there that peace and safe don't seem to be available to millions of people. And so we especially send to those places, those corners of the world, those lightning rod spaces, extra helpings of peace and safety. May all beings be happy. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. And we are really approaching a tipping point. And the more of us that can say this is what we're doing, awakening to the light of our true nature. It is your light that saves the planet. And the more energy we put into cultivating our light, transforming whatever darkness may be in there without really a lot of regard for how it got there, just transform it, up-level it, allow yourself to release it, forgive it, heal it, and spiral up and move on. May you awaken to the light of your true nature, which is way more than you're human. You're superhuman, baby. Superhuman. And may all beings be free. Emotional freedom. Letting go of the past. Letting go of the things that hold you down and imprison you in a place of can't happen, can't be done, not for me. Doesn't work for me. That stuff is just old emotional energy that has you trapped. And it's time to let that stuff go. May all beings be free. Many, many blessings. Thank you for joining me. Hashtag replay. If you're watching the replay, drop me a question, send some perspective in. And if you really want to be an easy contribution to the world, share. You don't have to know who needs it. You don't have to know exactly what timestamp to send them to. You can just say, hey, you might find something useful in creating more happiness, peace, harmony, love, and joy in your life. Take a look at this. Share. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful hump day. Bye now.